Welcome to our event, Unite for Our Schools. This is what we want to do. Not enough energy. We are here to unite for our schools. It's time for the current commission to hear us and fund our schools. Baltimore City Public Schools has historically been underfunded, and we will not stand for it any longer. So the teacher in me, the former teacher in me, wants to do a call and response. I need some energy in here. It's late. We've all been working all day very hard, so I need a call and response. So our chant is going to be, delay, delay, it's not okay. All right, let's practice this. So I'm going to say delay, delay, and you're going to say, it's not okay. Let's practice again. Delay, delay.
It's not okay.
Delay, delay.
It's not okay.
Delay, delay.
It's not okay.
All right, that's good. So remember that. There's another one. All right, this side of the room, you're going to say unite as loud as you can. This side in the middle is going to say for our, and over here, schools. So when I point to you, it's your turn. All right, let's go. Unite for our schools. Unite for our schools. Unite for our schools. Delay, delay.
It's not okay.
All right, I'm getting some energy now. So we're here as the Baltimore City concerned community, elected officials, advocates, parents, teachers. We're here to support Baltimore City Public Schools. We need more funding, and we need it now. We are one Baltimore City. It's not okay that some students on some side of the town have good quality education, and other students on other sides of town do not have quality education. We've heard a lot about concentrated poverty. We've heard a lot about CTE programs. We support them all. But we want to talk about racial equity. We want our students to have the same opportunity and not denied just because the color of their skin or the neighborhood they live in. So over the years, BEC, we've rallied, we fight in Annapolis, we have a lot of energy. We initially planned this event to get everybody riled up for legislation this session, and then we had the sad announcement that Kerwin Commission is not ready. They need more time, but we need more funds, and we need it now. Delay, delay.
It's not okay.
Delay, delay.
It's not okay.
Unite for our schools. Unite for our schools. All right. So the energy is here. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Frank Patinella. Works tirelessly to put this event on. He is an ACLU senior education advocate and the co-chair of the Baltimore Education Coalition.
Thank you. I also wanted to mention that we have Mile 22 Associates here, and they're helping to register voters for the event. If you're part of a community group, make sure you connect with Ian Logan. He's back there by the registration table. He's willing to come out and partner with you in your communities to get out the vote and register voters, okay? So good evening. We're here tonight because we're in a crisis. Our schools are significantly underfunded, and we have one opportunity to get it right. We've been through this before. Some people may remember that the ACLU sued the state in the 90s. And in 2002, it took thousands of people from Baltimore and all over the state, including the mayor at the time, our delegates and senators, and other officials, to win the current funding law that we have now. And that was through the Thornton Commission. Is Dr. Thornton here? He said he might be here, and I wanted to make sure we recognize him. Doesn't look like he made it. He's from PG County, but he worked hard on that, and we had a good law. But when the recession hit in 2008, the state cut the Thornton law, and as a result, city schools lost many hundreds of millions for our schools over the past 8 years. If Thornton wasn't cut, city schools would have an additional $290 million in the budget this year. So that also shows that adequate funding was also measured recently by the APA consultants. These are new consultants that the state hired, and they said that city schools need an additional $358 million to reach adequate funding. So we are underfunded, and these state reports have confirmed that. But we also know how we can win. We have our elected officials here tonight, including the mayor, who will speak to us in a minute. We need Baltimore to be strong now if we are going to win in Annapolis. We need unity with our mayor, our delegates, our senators, our school CEO, our school board, and city council. Tonight, we're asking all of us to lock arms and make sure we show up in unity and in force in Annapolis to win a new and improved state education funding formula. The Kirwan Commission report is being delayed, but we want a down payment on funding to pass this year in 2018. We also want more school construction funding for our old school buildings. And we want to pass the full Kirwan funding bill in 2019. So I'm going to welcome Mayor Catherine Pugh to the stage now. Let's give her a round of applause. First, there's a couple words.
Okay, go ahead.
First, we would like to thank you for stepping up last year to help fix the gap and give additional city funding to schools despite the constraints on the city budget. Round of applause. We also like to present to you over 800 postcards signed by parents and teachers at 50 back-to-school nights this fall, urging you to prioritize passage of a strong education funding formula. We have the postcards back there. I think the City Neighbor students. Okay, thank you. And Madam Mayor, we would like to hear from you now about how we can make this campaign the top priority for all of us for the next 2 sessions. We know that this will be a multi-year campaign given Kirwan's delay. So we'd like to ask you to speak to whether you will make the fight for an improved funding formula a top priority for the next 2 sessions and work with your colleagues in Annapolis to pass a down payment to Kirwan in 2018, as well as fight for more state school construction funding.
Good evening, everybody. I don't mean to take the energy out of the room, but today we buried a police officer, and I just left the cemetery. So I ask you all to just pause for a moment and pray for the family, because we just left the cemetery, and it was a very trying experience. And I know that we will get to this problem, and that our city will continue to move forward, and that we will solve the violence in the city by continuing to work together, because we have to have a safe city. And I want to be real clear that we did, and we do, and we have a violence reduction plan. We've shared it with the governor, we've shared it with our legislative body, and we've shared it with our city leaders, and we've shared it with the philanthropic and the business community, because it is an all-in working together to solve this problem, because everybody in the city deserves a safe city. And so we'll continue to work on that. But let me just take for a moment and say thank you all. Thank you to the Baltimore Coalition for all the work that you've done, for your advocacy, and for standing up for the Kirwan. We had, compared to every other jurisdiction, the best Kirwan turnout of any other jurisdiction in the state. So you all deserve a round of applause. As I said last year, it was great to work with you all. You all know that we worked very hard to add additional dollars going into our own reserves for the city. And we will continue to work on behalf of education, because I believe education is a priority for all of us. Education and reducing violence in the city are my key priorities, and we have to do both. And so let me just say to you and pledge to you all that we will continue to work with you. This is a high priority. If we don't get education right, if we don't get violence reduction right in this city, then we're killing our own city. And so I know together we can work on behalf of the city because our children are our future. And this coalition, you know, I was looking at you and I was thinking how long I've known you. I've watched you grow up, advocating, seriously, advocating ever since I can ever remember. You know, as a city council person, I got elected in 1999 and 2000. Remember you in Reservoir Hill and your advocacy? I barely remember. I do. But, you know, we cannot be more proud of your advocacy and your leadership. And so we ask you to continue to lead. And I ask all of you all to be steadfast in this fight and what do we say? We can't afford the delay. We just can't afford it. Our children can't afford it. The future of our city can't afford it. So let's continue to work together. I'll be glad to accept those postcards, but more importantly, I will be glad to work with you all as we work together in Annapolis to make sure that we do what's necessary to move our city, our city forward. Thank you all. Come on. And I know there's got to be some. I know City Springs young people have a lot of postcards here, but I know there's got to be some postcards from the first brand new school in the city, the Baltimore Design School, that I built. So thank you all. Let's continue to work together. Thank you.